The anime begins at Saren Private Academy, where we meet Alya Mikhailova Kuju, a girl of Russian descent who garners a lot of attention as she enters the academy. She is approached by Ando, a second-year student with a grand attitude, who introduces himself and mentions that his sister has spoken of her. He soon suggests they have lunch together, but Alya immediately declines, surprising Ando. He then calls her cold and proposes exchanging phone numbers, but Alya refuses again, saying she has no interest in him. This left Ando shocked and frozen, while Alya takes the opportunity to leave, reminding him that his necklace is against school rules. Shortly after, Alya arrives at her classroom 1B and greets her classmate, Masachika Kuzi. Initially, he doesn't respond because he is asleep in his desk, but Alya kicks his chair to wake him up and asks if he stayed up late watching anime. However, when she sees that he did, she tells him he never learns as he doesn't sleep well, watches anime, and then sleeps in class. Kuzi then explains that the anime ended at 1 a.m. and he talked about it with a friend for 2 hours. But she thinks he's crazy for doing something like that, to which he replies that if expressing your love for something, no matter the time or place, defines madness, then he will admit that he's crazy. Soon, Kuzi starts yawning, causing Alya to blush a little, but when he asks her what she said, she just responds that it was nothing and calls him pathetic to tease him. Not long after, Kuzi realizes he forgot his chemistry book and moves his desk next to hers to share. As class progresses, Kuzi keeps yawning, prompting Alya to poke him with her pencil, which made him raise his hand, causing the teacher to think that Kuzi wants to answer the question. However, not knowing the answer, Alya shows him the wrong one to embarrass him. Without hiding her intentions, she smiles as her teasing works and calls Kuzi adorable in Russian. We then learn a bit about Kuzi's past, where as a child he often played with a Russian girl who lived near his grandfather's house, which is how he learned to understand spoken Russian. He never thought it would lead to this absurd situation where a beautiful Russian girl teases him in a language he understands but pretends not to, fearing she would faint from embarrassment if she knew. After class, Alya sees Kuzi taking out his phone and reminds him that cell phones are only allowed for emergencies or as references. However, he responds that it is an emergency because the free pull in his game ends in 10 minutes. She isn't pleased with this and asks how he can do that in front of a student council member like her. But when he ignores her, she confiscates his phone and notices that he has won a character named Tsukuyomi. She soon notices that this is a reference to the Japanese moon goddess, but doesn't understand why her hair is gray instead of black. However, Kuzi mentions that it's a nod to the moon and that the character is very cute. Despite her annoyance, Alya returns his phone, and while Kuzi celebrates his win, she speaks in Russian saying that she also has gray hair before calling him an unfaithful piece of work. Understanding what she said, this made him nervous, but he decided to pretend not to understand and proceeded to ask what she said. But to his surprise, she tells him that she called him a gaming addict, making him turn to her and say that's disrespectful since he doesn't spend money on games. After that, Kuzi heads to the cafeteria with his friends. But a few minutes later, the girls from the student council arrive, including Yuki, Alya, and her older sister Maria Mikhailova, whom they call Masha. Kuzi's friends, Taki and Hiku, comment on how beautiful the sisters are, with Taki showing more interest than usual. However, Hiku thinks Masha has a boyfriend because she keeps rejecting boys, saying that she has a boyfriend. Kuzi even adds that if she didn't have a boyfriend, Taki wouldn't have a chance. But he complains and then talks about other options, mentioning Yuki and Alya. At that moment, Yuki makes eye contact with Kuzi, smiles mischievously, and approaches their table to ask if she can sit with them. Kuzi agrees and the others do too, with Taki feeling a bit nervous. Alya also sits with them, and as Yuki eats her ramen, she starts talking about the flavor. Seeing this, Alya asks if they are friends, to which Yuki responds that they have known each other since they were kids, having attended the same school since kindergarten. Hiku then asks if Yuki and Alya are friends, but Yuki says they are in the process of becoming friends and that she would like to be friends with Alya. This embarrasses Alya, who says she doesn't think she would be much fun as a friend, though Yuki's kindness starts to convince her otherwise. Suddenly, Taki and Hiku get up to leave, having finished their meal. Now Kuzi is left with Yuki beside him and Alya in front. She then moves her chair closer to his and asks if he's considered her offer to join the student council. But Kuzi replies that he's told her 1,000 times that he's not interested, even when Yuki thought that he would fit in well with her and Alya, especially since he has experience as a vice president. Seeing Alya doesn't know about this, Yuki explains that when they were in middle school, she was the president and Kuzi was the vice president. Kuzi mentions he only did it because she asked and that each candidate needed a partner for the elections. Later they leave and Yuki says goodbye while Alya tells Kuzi she's surprised they get along so well since she didn't think any girl would want to be his friend. This confuses Kuzi and he corrects her by pointing out that she is already his friend, which surprised her but soon acknowledges it. She then remembers she has student council duties and leaves, looking very happy. We then see a flashback of Kuzi's past, where he played in the park with a Russian girl from his childhood, communicating only in Russian. Back then, Kuze wasn't very fluent, but she helped him by correcting him when necessary. As she said goodbye, she leaned in to kiss his cheek, and suddenly Kuze woke up to a new day, having dreamt about that vivid memory. He comments that he learned Russian like crazy because he wanted to talk to her, but he even forgot her name. Arriving early to class, he starts cleaning, since it's his turn along with Alya to take care of classroom maintenance. But when she arrives, Kuze notices that she's dirty, and she explains that a truck splashed her on the way. However, she mentions that she has spare socks, so it's no big deal. They then talk about him being in the student council with Yuki in middle school and asks if he doesn't want to join the student council again, and he says no. Suddenly, she starts taking off her socks right there, causing Kuze to quickly look away. Noticing this, Alya smiles mischievously before crossing one leg over the other and asks him to get a sock from her locker since she can't go now. She urges him to hurry, but when Kuze brings it, Alya asks him to put it on for her, which alarms him. She explains that it's a reward for bringing the sock, thinking it would be a good prize for someone like him. However, she then says in Russian that it's a reward for her too, making Kuze wonder why her expressions of affection in Russian surprise him so much. He thinks maybe her obsession with being perfect is exhausting her, and she's using him as an outlet, exposing herself emotionally like an exhibitionist. Seeing him distracted, she asks what's wrong, and he says he wanted to know what she said. Alya then explains that she called him a coward, then tries to put the sock on herself, but Kuze stops her and takes the initiative. He grabs her foot, causing her to get very nervous and exclaims she's not ready. As Kuze tries to put on the sock, she squirms and makes strange noises. When he finishes, his hand accidentally touches her thigh, and out of embarrassment, she kicks him hard. Later, Kuze begs for her forgiveness, which she accepts, apologizing for kicking him. When he says he's fine, she checks on him to be sure. Nervously, he steps back, saying he should thank her for showing him something precious. Realizing he might have seen something under her skirt when she kicked him, she understands he saw her underwear. Unable to take it back, Kuze bows and thanks her for showing him something wonderful, which makes Alya furious. She gets him and starts insulting him in Russian, feeling really offended and embarrassed. After this, Alya runs away and Kuze chases her around the school for 10 minutes until they are both exhausted. He takes the opportunity to apologize, and she admits she's partly to blame. Kuze then kneels and offers her a can of drink as a peace offering. Alya, being childish, thinks it's a poor act but loves sweet red bean soup and accepts it. She smiles slightly and asks in Russian if he wants a sip. This question makes Kuze alert, thinking this might lead to an indirect kiss. Still pretending not to understand Russian, he asks what she said. Alya replies that she mentioned there's nothing like something sweet after exercise, once again using the moment to tease him with her wicked smile. Missing the chance for an indirect kiss, Kuze feels frustrated. This then concludes the first episode's recap of this anime. If you enjoyed this video and want more of it, go ahead and hit that like button down below, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Thank you everyone for helping us in reaching 5,000 subscribers. Let's continue to grow this community and help us reach a new goal of 10,000 subscribers.